Hey guys, here's a really quick, easy and nutritious veggie packed recipe, also with mung beans, so you get your protein in there as well. So let's begin. Let's start by turning on the Ninja Foodi, and we're going to put it on sear saute mode, and then we're going to use the heat, which is medium high, and let your pan warm up a little bit before you add the next set of ingredients in. So I'm going to put in a tablespoon of oil. I'm just using sunflower oil, but you can use vegetable oil or any other unflavored oil that you use for your tempering. Once the oil's heated up, I'm going to put in a tablespoon of ginger and let that sizzle away. Next, I've added in 4 cloves. So you can add or omit any of the ingredients that I'm using here. And I've also added 1 piece of cinnamon bark. So any spices that you do not like, you can omit them here. And this is what we call a vagar in Gujarati, or tarka. And it's a mixture of different spices that we roast in the oil. So here I'm adding in some mustard seeds, black mustard seeds, and I've used roughly about a teaspoon. And the reason that I'm stirring it, you don't normally stir the tarka, but in this case, because we're using much less oil than we normally would do, and the pan is quite big as well for the amount of ingredients we have for the tarka, so we've needed to stir it. Once the mustard seeds have started to pop slightly, I'm adding in 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds as well as some curry leaves. So I've used about 10 there roughly. Again, you can increase it or decrease the spices based on how you prepare it. Giving it another stir to make sure that the oil is coating everything so that it all roasts nicely. So once the seeds have started popping, the next thing to add is all of our vegetables. So I've got some white cabbage here, I've got some peas, some green beans, some diced carrots, some sweet corn. In this one I use baby sweet corn, but normal sweet corn will do. I've got some cauliflower, some peppers and a chopped tomato. And again, stir the tarka through all of these vegetables. Any vegetables can be put into this recipe, and that's why, I've said it's a veggie packed. The next thing we're going to add is our mung beans. So I've got split mung beans that I've got their outer shell still on. So I've soaked that for a few hours. The reason for soaking it is that it releases some nutrients and some minerals and things like that. So we soak it for probably about 3 to 4 hours. First thing in the morning, leave it to soak in water, leave it out on the counter, and then it's ready to use when you're making your dinner. So I've put in here 200 grams of soaked mung beans, which is about 4 handfuls, and then I've put in 500 mils of boiling water. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it on sear saute mode so that it just comes up to a boil. That means that later on, when we put the pressure cooker lid on, it will take less prep time for it to come up to the pressure. The next thing I'm adding is 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder. I'm going to pop in 2 teaspoons of salt. Adjust it as per your requirements, but 2 teaspoons is that was enough for this recipe. Just going to redo it now. So as you can see, it's bubbling away, and then I'm going to turn it off and then put on the Ninja lid, the pressure cooker lid for my 9-in-1, and I'm going to switch it to pressure cook mode, and I'm going to pressure cook it for 7 minutes. I'm going to make sure that the pressure cooker whistle at the top is on seal, not on vent, and leave it to prepare and build up the pressure inside. It could take a couple of minutes to build up the pressure, but if you have boiled the veggies and the mung beans earlier, then it shouldn't take too long to do this process. And then 7 minutes later, your Ninja will ping, and you just release the steam. At that point, be very careful when you're releasing the steam. You can actually use a wooden spoon, the opposite side of the wooden spoon, to do this. And then once the steam has been released, the lock will pop down, which means the lid can be opened. Now be really, really careful. Turn the lid. So I'm turning it anti-clockwise, and I'm just going to hold it in its place for a couple of seconds to let that initial steam come out, and then tilt it on its side so the water can just go back inside the pot. So now our khichdi is ready. Just some final spices to put in. So 1 tablespoon of garam masala and some ground cumin and coriander powder. I've also put in some milled flax seeds, so it's a great way to just hide in that extra goodness. So 2 teaspoons of milled flax can just go in, and some lemon juice can also go in, and then we just give it a final stir. All of the remaining water will get soaked in once the mung beans start getting mushed up a bit as we're stirring it, and then we just top it with some coriander and it's ready to serve. Enjoy!